Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a reading for the full moon in a Sagittarius / lunar eclipse for June the 5th, and this is a general reading that's looking at the interplay of energies that are around each sign. The way that they are embodied in my reading is the top row is seen as the archontic masks of the gods, those things that are trying to keep us separated from our divine self, and the bottom row of my cards are the actual gods, those beings who are trying to lift us up and reconnect us with the divine. Now, being 15 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's a midpoint degree, so right smack bang in the middle of the sign of the guru. So I think there might be quite a lot of, there's been an emphasis on a lot of the astrological movements recently, aspects I should say, about seeking out truth and personal truth. And the full moon in Sagittarius probably leaves us a little bit of a trap that we can be very, very assured in our truth. Now, I'm not going to discuss the astrology too much because I've already posted on the Facebook group, link down below in the description, at least 2 videos about this full moon. The first 2, Razalila Healing and Ksenia Moore. I recommend watching both of those. They can explain aspects of this full moon far better than I can. Now, this is a bulk introduction. There'll be a timestamp down below as well, so that you can watch more than one. And I recommend that you watch more than one. You want to watch your sun sign, obviously, but your rising sign as well, especially if you know what house Sagittarius is in for from your rising sign. And your moon doesn't go amiss, certainly not with a full moon reading. So 15 degrees Sagittarius. Now, this full moon is a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means the Earth's shadow just slightly touches the edge of it, but it is nevertheless an eclipse, and therefore will have an effect at least a week beforehand and a week after is what I've heard to start off with, because it does get superseded by an upcoming solar eclipse. But eclipses effects can be a long time, and full moon eclipses or lunar eclipses are very much about bringing things to an ending and completion of things, but they are also abrupt changes. You can't necessarily always know how an eclipse is going to manifest apart from change. Change is definite. Now, this eclipse forms a T-square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces. Mars is confused in Pisces at the moment. It's coming up to its conjunction with Neptune, where it gets a chance of being doused by the massive ocean that Neptune is. But it also, to me, represents action regarding your dreams and action regarding spirituality if you don't allow your Martian flame to be doused. Now, the T-square to Mars, and less so to Neptune, but still including, basically it's a very challenging aspect, but it does give a potential for success. Now, what I'm even more interested in is the fact that this is less than 1 degree off from the galactic center. So the day after these videos are released, I should be releasing my lunar galactic downloads, where we've got the galactic center download energy coming through the moon, but under the power of a full moon. This lines up immediately with the Great Attractor, which is a force out in the universe which is pulling multiple galaxies after it, including our own. It's been observed, as in seen that the galaxies are being pulled, but it's not been observed in and of itself, so it's indicating that it's very, very, very far away. But to be demonstrating an effect over multiple galaxies indicates, well, quite a lot of power. And of course, every time that we conjunct with the galactic center, the Great Attractor is right behind it. So it may be that just as the moon translates the galactic center energy, the galactic center may well be translating the energy of this Great Attractor, whatever it is. Now I'm going to read, I think I'm going to read the inside degree. What really got me was the Omega symbol, and I found a document with all the Omega symbols on them. I have yet to find out what the Omega symbols are, but it is a magician's wand sprouting golden leaves. What we set into motion now, as long as it is an attempt to exert our power, exhibit our power in a positive way, I would add, then that will bring some harvest to us. It may not bring the full harvest. You know, this wand might be sprouting golden leaves from it, but you wanted to grow an entire forest. So, you know, it's depends what scale you're wanting to work on. But if you wanted golden leaves, then you've got them. Now, I'm going to read out from Inside Degrees, Sagittarius 16, because 15 degrees something is the 16th degree of Sagittarius. So it's a man sharing sheep, practical fortitude and resiliency to keep finding a way to do it, to keep discovering how to get through the deepest quandaries, the greatest karmic traps. Ingenious and resourceful, paying attention to the cues, going to get it right. You're involved within a path which requires discipleship or apprenticeship, learning the ropes, building up fresh capacity in this lifetime to scale the heights. But you remain preoccupied and absorbed within honest tasks. A pervasive conviction grows and forms of how it really is. You're willing to take every step to reach a far goal and attentive to what is really there. A throwback to the old ways of a rural past, oddly comfortable in adopting forms and moving through phases and taking on the worlds. The journeyman knows the ways of the journey and gathers earth's wisdom in small bundles, knowing how to be there when it counts. So that packs a lot into it, especially considering the state of the world, the state of the economy, the state of America at the moment. And there was one other degree, the Azoth symbol, which was thoughts being exchanged by many people over great distances. So there is that wonderful sense of community, which is reinforced by that inside degree that I read out to start off with. Now, housekeeping, like I said, there's the Facebook group down below, page, sorry. But the important thing is that page has an inbox. So if you're wanting to approach me for a personal reading, feel free. That's one of the ways you can do it. There's also a Twitter down below. I would very much like if you would comment and give me feedback on the reading. I've been doing these Full Moon Gods at Play readings for a while, so I'll be interested to see what you actually think of them and what you think of the spread and the how it's all put together. And also I try and respond to all of the comments. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented so far and everybody who has subscribed. I'm a young channel. I'm 8 months old, I think. I'm 8 months old now. And every subscriber helps. Your next reading obviously will be that Lunar Galactic download. This month I am still to do my starseed guidance. I've done, new thing, I've done Chinese zodiac readings this month as well. So I've done the 12 Western signs and the 12 Chinese signs, so that's well worth a look. Mars conjunct Neptune later on in the month, and the second Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, this time with Jupiter in retrograde. I'm not even sure if Pluto might be in retrograde. Yeah, it is. So both of those in retrograde this time, so that's towards the end of the month. I think that's everything. Now, as I said, you can ask a question before this reading. It's not really a spread that is designed to provide you with an answer like some of my other spreads are, but you can ask a question if you want. Take a moment, think about all the questions around you. You've heard me say this before. Pick one of them, focus on it. Be aware of all of them, because the cards will answer what they want. Right, that's it. So let me bring up the cards. Okay, Libra, the very first two cards that I drew, Artemis and Helios, with purity and illumination respectively, gave me the title for this reading, Don't Let the Perfect Be the Enemy of the Good. Because this top row, as I've mentioned before in these readings, represents those archontic masks, that god forms that are not gods but are the archons that are trying to suppress us, to keep us away from our divine selves, our higher self, God, you know, and keep it feeding from us. Now, we have trickery here. We have trickery where you are being inspired to anger and rage about something that, well, as I said, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. There is a challenge where someone is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's really interesting with Inara and Tiamat right opposite one another. Tiamat, in the positive position, speaks of your own sovereignty, coming into your own power and being aware that somebody is trying to influence you. And I think that there is, it's almost like you are being whipped up to be angry about something. I'm going to tread carefully here considering the world situation. I'm wanting to say that this is a personal situation here. Relate it as you see fit. But it's almost that your anger and rage with Typhon here is being whipped up to someone else's direction, to someone else's purpose, because they have something to gain from it. Whereas on your side here, we have Helios with illumination, as I said, Odin with guidance, Tiamat with control, we've discussed Tiamat, Hera with relating, Sheila Nagig with gateways, and the four winds. Now, the four winds show... Oh, I've gone really blurry. So let me show you the four winds card and see if it will focus the camera. No, it doesn't want to focus at all. Come on, camera. You can do it. The four winds, to me, indicates that if you take the path of discussion rather than... I mean, with purity, anger and rage and trickery, it immediately reminds me of cancel culture, which is probably a little unfair. But I am concerned when we have Pele with purpose as one of those forces that's working against you, that you can be aligned with a purpose and not necessarily receiving your own internal guidance to go, hang on a minute, there's a better way than this anger. There's a better way than this rage. There's a better way to have justice. We have Michael here. I stand for justice and truth. I live from my integrity. I'm going to have to make a personal statement on this one in a moment as well. But it's really interesting that this is your reading, Libra, considering, you know, scales of justice and everything. But Sheila Nagig with gateways here gives me the impression that by staying true to yourself, listening to your own guidance, and you decide what you're going to be angry about and what you're not going to be angry about. Don't let somebody else be trying to sway you. Don't let a larger situation... We've got Taiki with... Taiki. I always say Taiki. With fortune here, which indicates very much fortune is fate. You know, that you are being told it has to be this way. It has to go this way. And I'm actually relieved that I've seen that, because that means the discussion can go either way, because I don't want to be telling you what to think. But as I say, with the world situation and with what's going on in America, absolutely there is every reason to be angry. But there's also, we've got to remember as people who are seeking spiritual truths that anger doesn't solve anything. As I said in a previous reading, anger is just a signpost. Anger is there to tell you that something is wrong. However, here, anger is being whipped up to someone else's agenda, whatever that means. Now, it doesn't mean that there isn't something to be angry about. It does mean that anger is not the correct response. It has to be thought out more than that. It has to be strategic more than that. You have to be relating to others around you more than just screaming at the world. You have to be working with others more while keeping your own sovereignty, not being led along by the nose by whoever Inara is representing here, but listening to your own internal guidance, where the world's going to be a bit confusing. I mean, the astrology shows that the world is going to be a bit confusing. But if you are keeping control and rejecting influence, you have to look at facts and you have to look at your own feelings, not somebody else's, your own. And you have to also be aware of, you know, what those feelings are based on, because people use different definitions for feelings and emotions and inspirations, and they're all covered by the same three words in different ways. Right, this makes more sense. 9 of Cups, clarifying the anger and rage of Typhon. So it's almost like this anger gives you a campaign that is a wish fulfillment of a way of rebirthing yourself, and they are promising victory and swift movement. And there ain't nothing in this world that's fast. There is... Yes, you ain't going to find your own power through confrontation here. You ain't going to find your own power through... Ooh, there's a bit. I assume these cards want to come out. Oh, they've gone upside down, haven't they? Yeah. You ain't going to find your own power through confrontation. You're going to find your power through listening to your own internal guidance. Now, always when I see Odin, I am reminded that he is the Hanged Man. He hung on the World Tree Yggdrasil to gain his wisdom. But it's almost like I feel like there are facts that keep coming to you with this illumination that are maybe contrary to what the general thrust of someone is telling you is. And all this does is lead to mental conflict. There is that sense of, yeah, but this, but that's right, but then there's that, and then there's that, and then, you know, I'm trying to work out and balance. So there is that Hanged Man time coming up, and this is definitely message based, so news based and word of mouth based, but by remaining in control yourself, you gain your own transformation through this. There is guidance. You may be stood on your own for a while, but by working with others, no, this is giving shelter. This is, I've never had that from the Five of Pentacles before. But yes, the church is a shelter behind. And this is giving this couple shelter. But it's something that you have to be really gentle with. again with this Hera and relating, Hera was tremendously loyal. But you need to be loyal to your own sense of control, your own sense of sovereignty here. And this is what will open gateways to a really firm foundation where you can get the information and the wisdom that you need to make the changes yourself. You know, there's only so many changes that we can affect on the world. And as you all know, if you're watching the tarot reading, the first place where you start changing the world is with yourself. But you are protected. I mean, we have Hahuya here with protection. Right next to these four winds, showing that the elements are working with you. The cardinal directions, the cardinal elements. I mean, even Michael is one of the angels of the four directions, one of the four archangels. East? Do you know, it escapes me right now. I should know that off by heart. But it's irrelevant. I stand for justice and truth. I live from my integrity. Now, this is a great comment on the statement of the state of the world, because even before America exploded, there was so much misinformation out there about so many things. And I am not saying that this reading is necessarily to do with reacting to the tragic death in America. It could be something far more personal, but there's microcosm to macrocosm. Where this is a personal experience, that is not playing out on the world media, there is still that trickery and that being whipped up into anger because you want it this way and this is only right. But if that way is the only right way and it's not possible, then what you are saying is there is no right way. And what Helios here is saying, that although you may be conflicted, there is a better way than what we've got at the moment. You know, one step at a time, because by taking those one step at a time with Hera here, remaining loyal to your own sense of sovereignty, to your own transformation that you get through this, you are opening gateways to a really stable foundation. 10 of Pentacles. I mean, Odin is delivering guidance, and I always think that the 9 of Pentacles offers guidance that can be enacted on practically, but also guidance that can only be enacted on by yourself. The 5 of Pentacles is another guidance card, the light that shines through the church window. But I almost feel like you are the one being called to give shelter to somebody, but you are not necessarily giving shelter to the person who is trying to make you angry. That's everything that I see there, Libra. I'm a little nervous to say any more. You know, it's a political minefield, this reading, which makes me think that whatever situation you're heading into is also a bit of a minefield. So all I can say is stay true to yourself here, whatever that means. Whatever that means, stay true to yourself, but make sure that you are standing for justice, truth, and your own integrity. Right, that's it then. Good luck. And your next reading now will be the Lunar Galactic Download. I'm off now. Bye-bye.